What is cracking, everybody? I'm excited today because we're going to break down the tape. These are turning into quickly my favorite segments of the week. Really excited to start breaking down some of this tape. Again, you come away with feelings like from the game, especially when you're live. I think one of the biggest things, like when you're live in game, in person, and you're watching basically up close and personal, there's so much vibe, there's so much emotion, you're like living and dying on every single play. Sometimes when you're live, you get caught up in the emotion, you get caught up in the flow, you get caught up in the rhythm or their lack thereof. So I think one of the things that's been really good back into the tape and really breaking down the 49ers from an offensive standpoint is that they've really, they started off rough. They really did. But you have to give them credit for getting back on track, and that includes Jimmy, that includes the offensive line, that, if anything, the wide receivers made it a little bit more difficult than anything else. Yeah, let's go. Tell them Wi-Fi is looking good these days. Let's go. So it's been really fun to actually go back and watch again. Some of the main points of emphasis to come out directly after the game, at least in regards to fan narratives and things like that, right, is things such as poor offensive line play. I've heard a lot of issues surrounding Trey Sermon, and of course, a lot of conversations surrounding the quarterback position, surrounding coaching, everything. There's been a lot of stuff to come out of this last game on Sunday. But like I said, the tape doesn't lie. And once you have a second to kind of relax, settle in, throw some slaps on, watch the tape and break it down. Again, without that emotion and without the vibes and out any of that, you see it a little bit more clearly. You see it a little bit more for what it is. So I'm excited to share some of that with you. I'm going to start off with the craziest series of the game. In my opinion, this was the 4-play series to end the half. Of course, we know how it ended. It ended with the Trey touchdown. But there's a lot of good nuggets in these 4 plays. So I figured what we would do is we'll break down each 4 plays in succession, and we'll just look at it in a vacuum, just those 4 plays, and we'll take a look from there. It was wild to watch, coming back to it and like really identifying it. I don't know. Maybe you guys will feel the same way, but let me get my screen shared, and we will start breaking this down. I love breaking down the tape. This is where the fun happens. This is where the fun happens. All right. So let me get my notes all squared away so I can do a little multitasking here. Yes, sir. Tell them, Cap. Get those likes up. Get that algorithm triggered. Let's go. We're breaking down film. We're breaking down film today. Okay. So let me get my screen pulled on. Oh, it's already up. Let me get to the right marking point, and then we're ready to go. So I'm going to start this play with 12:59 on the clock, or at least on my marker. So let me get through this. All right. So as we know, this is the drive before halftime. This is where Trent Cannon, had the really, really nice kick return that allowed the 49ers to get into position to make some plays. Didn't count this one as part of it, even though you could actually call this a crazy 5-play series. And if you just take a look right here, you'll see why. Mohamed Sanu is actually in a pretty good spot to catch this. You have no over-the-top safety help. Look at this hole. You have this entire backside of the end zone to work with. You have so much room to work with. I think Jimmy puts the ball in a good spot, but you do get some PI here on the rookies. I believe that's Stokes. and he gets the call. But still, this is the 49ers could have scored right here before half. Maybe if you don't get the PI. Again, we're talking about this. It's technically a 4-play series. You could add this fifth to it, and we can get a better look at it from the end zone angle. As you see Sanu streak up again, I like this ball placement. I like where it is. They call the PI a little too touchy right here. But I still like the ball placement. I think you put it where Sanu should be able to go and get it. Unfortunately, little PI occurs. So let's get this together. All right. So this is where I'm starting the crazy 4-play series, specifically for Jimmy Garoppolo. All right. There's been a lot of conversation about Jimmy Garoppolo, rightfully so. He didn't have his cleanest game. He had some, unfortunate plays that he would definitely like to have back. But let's also look at the plays that maybe some of his guys didn't make for him and how it just is like this crazy trickle down effect and how difficult it probably is for this guy right now and almost pretty much anyone on this team. So on this play, this is where we get the Debo drop. Now, if you look at that in real time, I remember I watched this in real time. It looked like Jimmy actually overthrew Debo a bit. But after coming back and looking at it, you get a better sense of kind of what's going on here. And so watch as Jimmy rolls out and tries to create. Initial reads aren't open. I like this. I like this from Jimmy. I like seeing Jimmy escaping and getting outside the pocket. It's something that he doesn't do terribly often. That's something he doesn't do terribly often. But as you can see, look where his eyes are. So right now, what Jimmy is keying on is he's trying to get Mohamed Sanu. You see the little hand point? See that? He wants Mohamed Sanu to go where Debo is. Because Mohamed Sanu sits it down. Essentially, you can't really see it. He sits it down like right here. He's off screen, but he sits it down kind of like right at the line of scrimmage. You'll see it flash. But that's not what Jimmy wanted him to do. Thankfully, or at this point, Muhammad's not doing what Jimmy wants him to do. You got Rashawn Gary coming down on Jimmy right at the last second. Thankfully, Jimmy looks into his inside. Boom. There you see the eyes. He locates Debo Samuel wide open in the back of the end zone. Again, when I first saw this live, I was like, oh, you got to hit that, Jimmy. But after kind of watching it, it's a combination because I see where his eyes are. He wanted Sanu to do something different, doesn't get it, is able to come back right at the last second to be able to find Debo, throw it on the run. Like, this isn't the easiest throw in the world, especially when you have a defender barreling down on you. And like I said, from the angle I saw, what didn't look like it was the best. But at the same time, I don't know. You let me know in the comments. Do you think Debo Samuel should have caught this ball? Is this more on Jimmy and ball placement? Or do you think this is on Debo Samuel? Do you think Debo Samuel got to come down with that? I'm interested to know what you guys think. Now that we're watching it right now from this angle, I think this angle provides a little bit better context to the situation because I'm actually kind of looking. I'm looking at Debo on this one, where I think initially it was flipped. I was kind of looking at Jimmy, and again, part of that goes back to the rough start. Again, you're living in that emotion, at least for me personally, living in that emotion of like, oh, we got off to such a slow start. Jimmy's not really playing that well. And so like when these plays happen, it's almost like you give Debo Samuel, at least from my perspective, you give Debo Samuel the benefit of the doubt. And you're like, come on, Jimmy, you got to throw that better. But like I said, taking some time, looking at it, I see some of you guys right here. Let's see. James says that was good ball placement. Joshua says Ayuk could have got that with his reach. That's good ball placement. Debo should have got it. Not the easiest throw or catch. Exactly. I agree. It's not an easy throw or catch, but I think it's manageable for both based on how Jimmy laid it up. Let him lead him a touch, but Debo Got to get that. Sorry, I can't read right now. Samuel says, hit his hands, need to start to come down with this one, Brad. What's up, coach? Yo, my guy. Sean says, honestly, Debo is open early. It is difficult throw, but kind of one that a pro wide receiver would make. So again, the point of what I'm trying to make of this sequence, this is the first play of our sequence. Someone said this was wobbly. Oh, not this one. They're speaking in general. So one of the things about this sequence, like I was talking about, like I was preloaded, kind of emotionally charged at Jimmy for how he operated the first half. So in the stands, I was actually probably about the 20-yard line in the stands on the bottom level. And I just was like, oh, why is Debo diving? Like, why isn't Debo just like sitting down in this soft spot and just catching that? And so I kind of put that on Jimmy. But unfortunately, when you come back and you look at it, it's a good ball, man. It's a good ball. It hits him in the hands. I honestly think, from my personal perspective, that this has to be a catch. Like, you got to bail out your quarterback, man. Like, your quarterback got the ball there. You're wide open. You don't have anyone coming down on you. And like I said, to Sean's point too, yeah, he absolutely could have came to this sooner. But he was looking at, again, look at his eyes are on Sanu. He's expecting Sanu to like do a little dip out, but it just wasn't working. He came back, found Debo. Debo drops it. So again, this is the first play of the unfortunate sequence for Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's watch the second play of the unfortunate sequence for Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's see what we get here. Get a little play action mesh and the drop. So again, we looked at the Sanu play. He put the ball in a good spot. Sanu could have caught it. There's a PI. Okay, we can live with that. This last play we just watched, rolls out, creates, gets the ball to Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel drops it. Okay, fine. This is a good pass. Like, look at these guys, dude. Look at these guys. That's a good pass. Like, it might be a touch behind. Like, you see how Ayuk has to kind of come back just a little bit. So if we're going to nitpick and we want perfection, I would say this ball needs to be about right here. See where my mouse is, just to maybe help avoid something like this where a receiver is going back into a defender's body. But for the most part, not everything's perfect in the NFL. Like, half the battle is just, you just need an opportunity. And this is an opportunity to make a play. I really felt like, again, you see these underneath defenders, they're just waiting. He's able to get it up high enough. And I like the throw. I really do. This is a first-round wide receiver. I expect better. I expect better. Again, we can nitpick the placement. We really can. Like, we can really say, all right, well, let's get the ball out maybe a little ahead. But for the most part, come on, Brandon. Help your quarterback out. All right? So, again, 2 drops. Back-to-back. Should have been touchdowns. 2 drops back-to-back. All right, Jimmy, come on. Let's go. What do we got, Jimmy? You got this. Work through it. Work through the pain. Work through the pain. Oh, Jimmy. Again. Like, it's so unfortunate. 2 touchdown passes dropped. You can argue 3. You can argue the one to Sanu would have been a shot. But let's look right here. Boom. Right at the back of his hitch. Who do we got? Who do we got? All right. You got Brandon Ayuk running a little crosser. I think you have Kittle kind of sitting it down to kind of messy it up. But you have this guy, this linebacker, who's sitting on this route. So he's waiting for that. I don't know if you want to throw that. Either one of these offensive weapons. Again, you don't even have these outside guys turning their heads yet. You have Sanu. Like, I don't know what Sanu's doing. So I really think this is where it's designed to go. I think the ball is designed to go to Brandon Ayuk. If we had to install and we could like pick it apart and understand the true order of operation and how the reads work, I think it's going to one of these inside guys right here. But unfortunately, it's covered. It's covered. There's no one open. There's no one open. And again, it's like, okay, well, what do we focus on? We see Trent Williams get beat a little bit. Look at Trent get beat a little bit. This was the first actual beat, and I think it's the only beat that Trent had all game. And it comes on a play where no wide receivers are open. So again, one of the things that we're going to look into when we start to dive into Trent's technique and we shift our focus to offensive line technique. This is the first time he gets his hands beat. Watch. So see this? Defender gets his hands into him, and then the defender literally grabs his hand. They're holding hands right now. They're holding hands. But look, that affects his placement, his punch, his leverage, and as a result, that's why hand fighting is so crucial on offense and defensive line play. And unfortunately, on the play where there is no one open, we see Trent Williams get beat for his one and only beat of the game. And it comes at an unfortunate play for Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why I called this series just an unfortunate 4-play series for Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, it's just like he had 2 touchdowns dropped, and then they run this play. The Packers defend it perfectly. Again, what are you supposed to do? Doesn't matter if it's Trey Lance. I mean, if we're talking Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, we're talking that conversation. The only thing that's different is potentially Trey Lance maybe gets out of there a little sooner. But again, based on operating within the offense, I don't see anything that's open. I'm honestly really okay with how Jimmy operates this. There's nothing that's clearly open. And again, Trent gets beat right off the rip. So again, my emotions are running high. I'm like, come on, Jimmy, what are we doing here? Jimmy's not at fault for anything here. And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of the outcry that we're hearing, a lot of the social media discourse, is our perceptions are our own worst enemies. Because if you really dive into the tape and you start to figure out the hows and the whys, like, look at the O-line up front. We'll do a little O-line breakdown. So far, everyone does a really good job. The O-line really settled in. They had a couple bad beats early. They settled in. You got man with man on man with Lincoln Tomlinson. You have Brunskill and Mack working in combo here. Again, Brunskill's eyes looking for outside pressure. You got Mike. Let's see, what is Mike doing here? So Mike gets out. Boom. What Rashawn Gary is doing right here is he's working inside. So he's setting up outside speed, countering to inside. So gets Mike a little bit crossed up, but Mike does a fantastic job of recovery. This is exactly what you want to see. You see the way Mike is kick stepping out, and the second you get the inside step, you're planning off the back foot, shooting and pushing inside. Rashawn Gary tries to counter against that move and that concept to go back outside, and you get Mike McGlinchey able to pick that up. I'm absolutely okay with that block. Absolutely okay with that block. It's Trent. It's my guy. It's unfortunate that the first time we're focusing on the O-line is going to be a miss for Trent. But again, I think there needs to be some balance. You know, I'm going to give Trent Williams all the credit in the world for being the best left tackle in the world. And I'll do plenty of that on this live. But this is just an example of how unfortunate this series was and how it changes the perception around Jimmy Garoppolo, and why I think fan perception doesn't match what's going on inside that locker room. If you're on this team and you're on this offensive line, you're a wide receiver, you damn near know you let Jimmy Garoppolo down on this series. Like, you did not, no one did Jimmy any favors here. You see, again, the hand, he lost with his hands. Let's watch it again. Fights inside, so he's starting to leverage, but he doesn't have his hands where he wants them to be, and as a result, gets a little worked. So again, and then this is why it's so unfortunate. Who's in at quarterback? Who's in at quarterback right now? Who's in at quarterback? Like, again, I just wanted to talk about this because of this concept and how difficult this has to be on Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, he had 2 touchdowns dropped. 2 touchdowns dropped. All-world left tackle Trent Williams gets beat on top of the play being called, being covered extremely well. Looks like a bad play by Jimmy. Then you take Jimmy out. The entire stadium erupts. Like, when Trey Lance came in, the entire stadium just erupted. Like a huge play was made. But it was just Trey Lance coming in, and then here you go. Look, the defense doesn't even know how to play this. They don't even know. They have no clue. Because that's the element that Trey Lance brings in with his feet. He changes the way the defense matches up and plays against him. So again, like, it's a great play design. It's a great concept. It makes sense to me, like, as a team perspective, like, okay, like, our guys, we've had two touchdowns dropped already. Debo dropped one, Ayuk dropped one. We got a sack based on a missed block. And then here comes Trent with the block of the game. Again, focus on Trent. And just leads the way. Like, and that really freaking sucks for Jimmy. Like, again, like, you guys know, I love Trent. Or I'm sorry, I love Trey. You know, I have my questions of Jimmy. But I feel like this series is, like, very indicative of, like, the misunderstanding of who Jimmy Garoppolo is. Because even me, like, in the moment, I'm like, oh, come on, Jimmy, we got to make these plays. We got to do this. We got to do that. But at the end of the day, it's 2 drop touchdowns and your tackle gave up a sack. And then Trey Lance comes in and gets all the glory. And that's partly why we are talking about what we're talking about on the timeline. That's partly why the timeline is so divided. It's just, you live in the emotion of the moment when you're watching live. It really takes you to go back to understand the true order of operations to everything, to understand who's really at fault. And, like, was that Jimmy? Or no, that wasn't Jimmy. That was actually his 2 wide receivers dropping his touchdowns. So again, I just wanted to start here and just talk about, like, all right, you know, maybe I've even been a little down on Jimmy in the offense the last 2 days. But like I said, as I've had time to kind of sit back and watch it, it was rough in the first half. It was, but they settled down. Jimmy settled down. The offensive line settled down. They started to slowly incorporate the run game back in, and our offense started to work a little bit. But unfortunately, when that's starting to occur so late, it just feels like desperation rather than running your offense. All right, I want to focus on this one. I really like, this is a low light. So this is a low light, and this isn't to, again, necessarily put a, like, let's see, let me make sure I'm on my right marker. Not to put, like, an emphasis on the O-line struggle, because there's a definite narrative that has come out of this game that the offensive line struggled. They had some miscues, 100%. They had some miscues, but struggle, they did pretty good. Like, again, the tape doesn't lie, man. And so the whole reason why I wanted to show this play is I wanted to show you the savviness of Kenny Clark, number 97, right here over Alex Mack. He is on Alex Mack's nuts. Like, he is there. Like, I'm talking about when you're a center, again, the defenders are lining off the ball. So literally this defender right here can't be any closer to a player on this offensive line than he is right now. Like, he is there. And this is the thing. It's an outside pitch. So when you're running outside pitch and you're the center, this is an outside shaded defensive tackle. You got to reach this. Like, you have to shoot your head across. You got to be able to get your hips and momentum swung around. You got to get this defense turned back in towards the inside of the field. It's a really hard block in of itself. But just watch. I'm going to do it slow motion just because we're in the trench world. It's a little bit easier to watch when it's slowed down, but we're keying on right here. And so watch how quickly Kenny Clark is into Alex Mack. Watch the foot. He's making contact with Alex Mack as Alex Mack is taking a lateral step backwards. This is hard to do. Like as a center, like any center, not Alex Mack, it could be Frank Ragnow from Detroit, one of the better centers. One of my favorite young centers, Bradbury from Minnesota. Like, this is a hard block for anyone. This is a hard block for anyone against one of the better interior defensive linemen in Kenny Clark. So again, I just want to show, like, and people saw this and they're like, "Oh, Alex Mack getting worked." Da, 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 da. It's like, dude, this is a hard block, man. This is a hard block. This is something that we coach. Like, we're gonna go into this game plan thinking like Alex Mack. You're a good center, so we think you can reach this outside shade here. We're not gonna have Brunskill stay and help. We're gonna have Brunskill immediately go to backer. See that? That's what we're trying to do. So I don't fault that. The adjustment that you make is all right. Kenny Clark is a real dude. We need to maybe pinch here. We need to maybe pinch here with Brunskill to allow Mack to take over the block. Once you get the pinch, see, rather than Brunskill taking this outside step, Brunskill takes an inside step, pinches, Mack comes around the block, takes over, and then you get the leak to the linebacker. Small adjustment, right? So the reason why I wanted to show this is again, watch this, right? This is what we're focusing on. We're focusing on an outside reach step from the center on an outside shaded Kenny Clark. And see how he blows that up? See how he blows it up? Yeah, he blew that up. And that's good on him. It's good on him. This is really hard position for a center to be in. Let's see how Alex Mack counters this. I love this stuff. I love when you can connect these dots. So now they start the second half. This is like the second play of the second half. Let's see what look we get. It might look familiar to you guys. Oh, what look do we got? Looks a little bit same. He's actually a little bit more cheated out. Before, you would actually almost say he's a little bit more shaded on the inside shade of Brunskill more than the outside shade of Mack. But again, this is going to be an outside run here. So it's the same concept that we talked about on that same play. This is like the second play of the second quarter. It's the same lineup, same thing. The responsibility of Alex Mack, reach this. Watch how sharp he is with his reach step, with getting around and getting ready to get in position to account for the issue he had in the first quarter. But watch what Kenny Clark does. Just watch. I'll play it and then we'll talk about it because I love it. It's a game within the game. Oh, that is just veteran ass savviness by Kenny Clark, dude. Kenny Clark needs some respect. Like, so it's the same concept. Like I told you, Mack got beat on this with that first play. Look how sharply he gets out this time compared to the last time. His foot is getting ready. He's like, the head is getting across, but Kenny Clark knows this and he counters inside with a little swipe and he's so again, you have this. I'm giving credit to the defensive tackle. Like, the defensive tackle deserves so much credit for these last two plays. Any center is going to struggle with this. Any center is going to struggle with this type of manipulation. This is why playing offensive line is so hard. Because right now, Alex Mack, I guarantee you, he's like, I got to reach this guy. I can't get inside penetration. That's the worst thing that could happen here. I can't get inside penetration. Tries to get a really good reach, and Kenny Clark, being a veteran that he is, already set up that real power to the inside that A gap, and he counters to the other side. That's good defensive line play. It's not necessarily bad offensive line play. And I think that's what people need to start to understand. Like, you can get beat as an offensive lineman doing your job. Like, you can get beat as an offensive lineman doing your job. And I give a lot of credit to Kenny Clark here. Like, to be able to be aware of that, to be able to counter off what had already worked in the first half, come back to it and just whoop them with a counter. Like, that's hard. That's just hard for any center. any offensive lineman. So good on Kenny Clark. One of the things that I do want to point out, though, right here, look at Trey Sermon. Watch Trey Sermon now. Kenny Clark got through free. Kenny Clark is a big, strong man, a very big, strong man. Now watch what happens. Trey said, "Get off me." There's a lot of Trey Sermon slander today and yesterday. Lots of Trey Sermon slander yesterday. But again, order of operations would tell you that it's not necessarily all his fault. It's not his fault Alex Mack got whooped on the 2 outside runs that he had. Like, that's not necessarily Trey Sermon's fault. But what I really do like here is, again, Trey Sermon got bottled up instantly. And for him to be able to get off that and then make another guy miss, this counts as no yards gained on the stat sheet. It looks like nothing, but that is effort, and I love that effort. I'll take that out of this running back any day of the week, because that's not hard to have Kenny Clark on you, completely draped on you, and you can shove his ass off you. So, although it's not the best right here from that situation, still really, really liked what Trey Sermon was able to do. So again, I just like piecing those 2 plays together because it's the game within the game. You guys know I'm big on the offensive line and like what is going on in those trenches. Like why are these things occurring? And again, both plays, Alex Mack is executing the same technique. His technique doesn't change. What is changing is how Kenny Clark is playing it, which is why you have to give a lot of credit to Kenny Clark. On that play, Alex Mack is doing what he's supposed to do. That's his reach step. That's what he's taught to do. You have an outside shaded defender. You got to get on your horse and you got to reach block this. This is on you. But because he got beat earlier, he was way like hyper focused on getting that reach, and Kenny Clark took advantage. The game within the game. It's why I freaking love trench play so much. I love it so much. All right, so those were the 2 main sequences that I wanted to show. Now let's go pick some stuff apart. I got hella notes. Let's just pick some stuff up. So I wanted to highlight this. You know, I'm big on blocking. I want to highlight Brandon Nyuk blocking. I feel like Brandon Nyuk has done a really good job of blocking, at least in this game. I feel like, and that's an underrated aspect of playing in this offense. I think I've heard some things about how, like, well, maybe Brandon's not getting on the field because he's not being as active as a blocker. But again, what I saw today or from Sunday's game was I saw Brandon Nyuk being very intentional with his blocking. So again, here we got Brandon Nyuk over here at the top of the screen. This is going to be a handoff to Kittle. Again, this was the weird sequence to start the game where it was a juice run up the middle, that pitch that got blown up to Trey Sermon. Then we had the Debo outside handoff, and then we came back with this Kittle handoff. Like, nothing about what we were doing was necessarily conventional. But like I said, we're looking at Brandon Nyuk and his ability to block out here. And I just really thought it was pretty good because he's blocking a linebacker. That's another thing to take note of. This is a linebacker. I don't know who this is. I don't know his name. But he's really good. I liked him this week. But look at him go. Look at him go. And we're going to break down why 51 makes this play in a second. But the focus right now is Brandon Nyuk. Look at him engage, wall off the defender, and push. That's a linebacker, man. That's a linebacker. Devondre Campbell, is that his name? I don't know who this is. I literally have no idea who this is. I have no idea who he is, but I liked his play a lot against us. I thought he did fantastic against us. If I had helmet stickers to give out for opposing defenses, I'm giving one to Dread Guy. I don't even know what his numbers are. His dreads are banging. I thought he did a fantastic job against us. But that, again, more gives more credit to Brandon Nyuk for being able to block like this. Like, this is not easy for wide receivers. This is effort, all effort, all effort. Love that from Brandon Nyuk. Love that from Brandon Nyuk. But now let's take a look and see why number 51 is taking down Kittle right here rather than Kittle squeaking through this gap and only having to beat Savage. Could you imagine if it was Kittle versus Savage in the hole? Kittle's breaking this. I don't care. If 51 isn't here and it's Kittle versus Savage because you get great blocking on the outside from your wide receivers, dude, Kittle might be gone, man. Kittle might be gone, but let's look at what happens. Let's look at what happens. So let's start. What do we want to start here? So this is what we got. So part of the play to our benefit, part of it did not. So the reason why it did not is because you get a combination of the Debo in motion. So watch how the linebackers key on the motion. Already puts them on their track, right? So already puts them on their track. What Laken Tomlinson is trying to do is he's trying to wall off this guy's angle. He doesn't want to allow 51 to come flow over the top. But what Laken has to do is he has to get by this defender. And watch what this defender does. Defender crashes down. So the defender crashes down actually on Laken Tomlinson. And as a result, it really messes up Laken Tomlinson's track. And on top of messing up his track, you already have the linebacker flowing over the top. And boom, it's just like an unfortunate setup in how that all worked out. Because if 96 doesn't crash down on Laken and Laken gets out here and gets a piece of 51, we're talking about a huge ass gain on Kittle right here. Because like I said, I don't think these two blocks are phenomenal. I don't think Darnell Savage is doing anything right here. So it's a phenomenal play by 51. I think that's Preston Smith. Again, what we can look at and we indicate why it doesn't work is 96 crashes down on Laken, cuts him off right here. He isn't able to get to where he needs to be. Doesn't work as a result. But let's, a lot of Brunskill hate. A lot of Brunskill hate. Let's watch Brunskill get out on his horse, pull. Look at that. Get out. Boom. Get him down. Easy money. That's a win. That's a Brunskill win. That's a Brunny win. We'll show bad Brunny and good Bunny. Bad Brunny and good Brunny. And I said bunny, like bad bunny. Yikes. But I like it. Again, this play was close. This play was damn close. This play was damn close to breaking. At first, like I said, in the game, in the sequence, I didn't like it. But if this doesn't occur right here, you get this block and you get Kittle one-on-one with Savage. Look at how big Savage is. Savage is not doing nothing. So that's the difference. That's how small of a situation that you have in regards to like angles and things like that. Let's see, 3:30. I get my notes say, oh, I want to show Alex Mack redemption. Let's see. That's what it says in my notes. So let's remember why it says Alex Mack redemption. I remember Alex Mack redemption. So we started out focusing on the offensive line. Again, looking at the two plays by Alex Mack, him getting beat. First play, first run of the game, which Kenny Clark blew up. Great play by Kenny Clark. But now let's watch some of the redemption. The redemption to get your ass down, boy. Woo! Let's go, Alex. So again, the problem with like the optics of offensive linemen getting blown up is that it sets a really sour tone in people's perception because it's a really hard thing to evaluate. You really don't understand like what's going on unless you know what's going on. Shocker, right? But again, what I really like, so now we got head up. This is much easier block. for Alex Mack. It is hard when you have outside shaded defenders and you got to reach them. It is a hard block. People need to understand that. It's hard, difficult, very difficult. But when you got to head up, that is manageable. Just this difference in shading is a huge change in regards to how offensive line go around blocking guys. So let's watch. So look, he's already head across, feet down. He's in position. Money. Get on the ground, Kenny. Get on the ground, Kenny. Nope, not today. So again, we like to focus on Alex Mack not having the best game, but he actually had a decent game. He just had the bad like plays that stand out in everyone's mind. People don't recognize this. They don't recognize him on the ground. They don't recognize him reach blocking here. That just doesn't occur. People don't take it into account like what Brunskill's doing right here. Again, outside shaded defender. Outside shaded defender. He's got to get his hat on this side. That is what he has to do. That is difficult, hard. This guy's rushing upfield. You have to get across his face and turn him. Again, look at Brunny. I take that all day from Brunny. I'll take that all day from Brunny. And then, unfortunately, though, look at 59. When I was talking about 59 earlier, I like this angle a little bit better. I think this is it. No, it might not be this one. You might. No, it's not the one that I'm thinking of. It's the same concept, though. They see Debo coming in motion, and 59 reads it the entire way. If 59 is not in the situation, or they can get that blocked, again, there's a beautiful hole here. You can cut it in, but 59 really does a good job of messing this whole thing up. So again, good play by the defense. And again, we just wanted to show a little bit of Alex Mack redemption and all that good stuff. All right, what is 330? 330. So I have good pass set from Mike. I have Mac takedown, Jimmy overthrow. All right. So let's look at this one a little bit. So specifically for this one, this is where we were getting a little bit of, I think, the scared Jimmy, or maybe like, the nervous Jimmy at first. And we'll talk about it. Like, we'll talk about it right here, because this is great pass protection. This is great pass protection. Look at this pocket. That's good pass protection. This is I would ask my guys, if I'm an offensive line coach and you gave me this on every play, hell yeah, we're talking. Because look at this natural lane. Jimmy Garoppolo could have stepped right through here. He should have been able to feel this pressure. He should have been able to indicate when, because you have to be aware of your offensive lineman as a quarterback. You have to be aware. And you have to be aware of when some your tackles are riding guys outside the pocket. That means you step up into the pocket. He doesn't do that here. He could have bought himself a lot more time. But again, watch the defense. The defense has everything covered right here. This looks like they're trying to run two natural picks. Looks like they're trying to run two natural picks or two natural rub routes. Watch. So you have Juice right here obscuring the defender. You have Debo coming in here to obscure the defender. Unfortunately, good old 59, right? Our good old friend 59, he's waiting. He's sitting on it. He's sitting on it. So unfortunately, when I'm looking at this, at least from the quarterback perspective, this would have been an opportunity like where I would have loved to see Jimmy step up into the pocket, leak out right here, and then see what happens as a result. Like, what if 59, if Jimmy comes out to about right here, does 59 come up, and then does Kittle come behind, and then you find this big soft spot and you just kind of dump it over? those are the kinds of things that I think we would like to see a little bit earlier from Jimmy. And why this might mean definitely not be one of his best plays, and one of those where you're like, again, we're focusing on rhythm early. This is a play where you're just out of rhythm. Like, it's not accurate. It's he gets a little spooked. Watch the feet. Like, his foot shouldn't be doing that. He's throwing this way. Your foot needs to go in the direction that you're throwing. You see him open it up, but then he's thrown that way. Like, it's just, that's why it's an inaccurate pass. Jimmy could have maybe gotten it a little bit lower, or like I said, there was the natural lane for him to step up and get out and maybe create. So again, it's just like, it's one of these things. This is like, these are plays that people are going to look at and be like, well, Lance, like if Lance saw this, right? If Lance got this hole, we're like, Lance, go escape out the pocket, force the defense to come up and defend the run of the quarterback. Well, then guess what? In that again, hypothetical situation, 59 comes down to close on Lance. Kittle escapes into this big hole. Been a touchdown. You know, those are the things that's what you have to deal with when you have the two quarterbacks that we have. That's what you have to deal with. You have to deal with those perceptions and all those things that people are thinking. And then again, unfortunately, it landed on the not so good INT. Now, I have a little bit better. I feel like I have a better, not saying a better opinion, like a better, I guess, positive view of how Jimmy handled this throw. I know a lot of people don't like this throw. I was a little bit more okay with it, especially after going back and watching it again. So what we're going to watch on the interception, we're going to key on a couple things. We're going to key on George Kittle. We're going to key on, I can't remember which defender it is. It's one of these defenders, I think, in this little triangle. Keying on the little defenders in the triangle. We're also keying on Jair Alexander. Look at where Jair is. Look at him. Look at that man. So again, keying on Kittle. Kittle is running a deep developing route. This is a deep route. Now, Jimmy has two options, in my opinion. Like, he has a bunch of options, honestly. You could hit Debo coming out here in the flat. You got Ross Dwelley flashing late. These are very simple passes. They're very simple reads. I would guarantee you, maybe even a lot of people in this chat could maybe make these throws based on, again, just where they are. There's a lot of space. There's a lot of, that's Sermon. There's Sermon, Dwelley. There's a lot of room for these guys to work. Like, imagine if Dwelley gets the ball here. He's got all the room in the world to work. But what I think we're seeing here is, whenever I hear anyone talk about this play, I don't hear anyone ever talk about the free rusher. I don't ever hear anyone talk about this guy. No one ever talks about the free rusher. That affected how Jimmy threw this ball. Again, it's there's so much context that goes into this play. From my perspective, again, I don't know how many deep balls I saw Jimmy Garoppolo throw at training camp that were off target, that were not accurate, that were not even catchable. Like, I've seen a lot of Jimmy throws that were either overthrown or underthrown. So understand, that's my context. That's my context of being at training camp and watching Jimmy throughout training camp. So now this is the next context. The next context, look at Jimmy sees this. Again, no one talks about this free rusher. No one talks about this guy when they're talking about this play. So that's the thing. Is, again, we talk about how Jimmy should be throwing the football. When Jimmy gets nervous and Jimmy gets a little spooked, watch this foot. Watch this foot. It always veers to the left. It always veers to the left. It doesn't veer straight forward. We can even pinpoint other passes throughout the game where he operates with the correct technique, but you see he opens up his hips by opening his foot up like that. It forces a different trajectory on the ball. So brings the foot out, opens up hips, really launches it. And again, it's like, all right, well, how much can you fault him though? He's got a free rusher coming into his face, about to destroy his life. And he knows that he's got Kittle breaking free open up top, and he lets it rip. Again, the responsibility we talked about Jair. Let's go back to Jair. I don't fault Jimmy for putting this up, man. I really don't. Let's get a better look at it. So let's indicate where the ball starts to be thrown. So ball just leaves Jimmy Garoppolo's hands. Just leaves his hands. Kittle is right here on the inside the numbers. Look at where Jair is, man. Like again, it's just a phenomenal play by Jair Alexander. I mean, hopefully, maybe hindsight being what it is, you run Ayuk towards the sideline, forces Jair to come down. You don't have like really any ability from these guys to like key on that. Like you can see this safety has no shot at keying on that ball, but Jair is freed up. Jair becomes basically a freestyler once Ayuk cuts in, because that's where all the help is of his defense. So the second Brandon does this, look at what Jair does. He says, all right, I'm gone. That's just a phenomenal play. It's just a phenomenal play. Again, you can try to attack this maybe differently in the future, but from a quarterback perspective of reading the defense and throwing it up, I don't fault him too much for this guy. Like, I feel like this is an individual effort by Jair Alexander. Really special. Really special play. Again, a part of it is due to how Jimmy threw it. Now, we're not going to sit here and pretend like Jimmy threw a laser. Like, we'll watch the ball. Watch the ball right here. So we're specifically going to be watching the ball. Okay, so as of right now, it's kind of a decent looking spiral. Like, it's nothing crazy, but watch when it goes out of frame, and now watch what it looks like coming down. You see it, see how it like turns into like this crazy like duck. Now, again, part of that is him opening up, swinging the gate open when he's going to throw. But again, I know this became a hot debate on Twitter. Is this an overthrow? And all that kind of stuff. But well, let's take a look. The biggest thing to key on here is look at Jair's hands. Look at Kittle's hands. Watch the two in relation to one another. So look at where Jair's hands are. See that? Those fingers? That's Jair's fingers. They are in the exact same spot as Kittle's hands. Look, the ball lands in Kittle's hands, but the problem is you have the momentum of Jair Alexander coming from a horizontal angle. You have Kittle going vertical. And because of the momentum that Jair has with his body to help, and you only have Kittle's hands, he just rips it straight out of Kittle's hands. But honestly, if Jair Alexander isn't here, I feel I might go to my grave saying this damn near a catch. Like, I have that much faith in Kittle, like that this is a catch, and that everyone's freaking out. Like, oh, Jimmy hit a deep ball. Jimmy hit a deep ball. Oh, Jimmy hit a deep ball. Like, that's the thing. If Jair isn't there, man, I think that's a catch. I think that's a catch. But it's just a great individual effort by Jair Alexander. It absolutely wasn't an error forever. But again, That's context. There's context. You can throw the ball up in the air forever when you're perceiving it as one-on-one, one-on-one. And when you're looking at this angle, again, that's the point. Is Jimmy's throwing to a spot thinking this guy doesn't exist. This guy doesn't exist to Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think people understand the context. This guy does not exist to Jimmy Garoppolo and shouldn't exist to really any quarterback, because this is a great individual play by one player. So that's why I don't have a problem with it necessarily hanging up like that, based on the context of exactly what Jimmy said. He said that's not his responsibility. He's not supposed to be there. None of that. So again, people were calling this like a terrible throw, bad throw, overthrow, hung up too much. Considering the fact you got a free rusher in his face, this is 50 yards in the air, and it hits Kittle in the hands. And the guy who actually makes the play on the ball is not that he's playing out of position. I don't think it's that bad. But again, people are going to believe what they want to believe. So we move on. So as you can see, this is where Jimmy wasn't playing the best. Really wasn't playing the best. Was up and down, not doing too great. But let's look at what do we got here. We got 553. 553. Right? No, 525. Come on. All right. So I have in my notes Trent Pancake, good Brunny pass block on Clark. All right, let's take a look. Dude, Trent is so crazy. I'm about to go super crazy, like love breakdown on Trent Williams. Are you ready for it? Watch Trent. My gosh, dude. Like, this dude does this he did this all game. We're going to break down the technique and how it occurs, but the amount of times that Trent Williams gets defenders on their face is unbelievable. Like, it's unbelievable. And we're going to talk about how and why he does it. Like, it's such a subtle piece of technique that I don't see anyone else doing. Only Trent. I only see Trent doing this, man. So let's take a look. Let's get the side view a little bit better. I think we might get a better angle. But we're going to understand right now why all these defensive linemen end up on their face when they go up against Trent Williams. All right, so we see the kick step, right? Kick step, boom. And again, what he's doing right now is a setup. This is a setup. See the setup? Look at the hands. See, like, it's like, think of it like bait for fish with Trent Williams, like his hands. Like, he's about to, like, it's like bait. Keith, I'll answer in 1 second. I actually we'll talk about Brunskill on this one too, and I'll kind of bring those two together. What Trent does is he puts it like, this is a setup. So this is a setup move. Watch. Hands. Oh, whoa. So typically, like, as an offensive lineman, you're taught to shoot hands. You're taught to kind of create contact. You're taught to kind of create contact. But watch this foot. Watch this foot. Again, offensive lineman technique is very, very repetitive. It's the same things over and over again. So as you can see, what he's doing right here, the way he's starting his kick step, bang, the way he keeps his feet wide, the way he's shuffling, but then watch this foot. Watch this foot. See that foot drop all the way back? And then see how he lands on his face? Imagine someone is going to sit down on a chair and you pull the chair out from under them. That's exactly what Trent Williams is doing. He's setting them up by baiting them with his hands and his placement for these guys to launch and create contact. And at the last second, he pulls the seat out. He drops his back foot and kicks his hips out, which changes the point of contact that defenders are trying to go after. And then he just pushes them on their face. Like, Trent Williams is legit. Trent Williams is freaking legit, man. Like, it's so subtle. It's so subtle. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Gotta love it. And then say what you want. This is a good pass by Jimmy. On the money. I'll take it. Good pass. Stuck it on him. Caught it. Ayuk gets rocked, makes a catch. I like it. We got it over the top. Oh, they're not even paying attention to that. All right. So then let's see. Brunskill, I like this. I like this by Brunskill. Again, Keith asked me, what did he ask me? Where did it go? Where did that question go? I lost your question, Keith. I was going to pull it up. I can't find it for whatever reason. Oh, here it is. So Keith had asked me earlier, why don't we put Jayla Moore at right guard? First of all, he's a left tackle. So it's a completely different set of technique when you go from tackle to guard. So if he were to go play guard, he would have to learn a completely new style of technique. And on top of that, he would be going from the left side to the right side. So not only is he learning a new style of technique, he's flipping how he's done everything. So how it goes in his head, you have to flip it. You have to mirror everything. So that's really difficult. People, I think it's really easy to like switch across positions and all over the place. It's not. It's really difficult. That's why we like uplift Brunskill to like a certain level, because he can play every position on the offensive line, and that is a very underrated skill set. It's a very underrated skill set. So the thing is, like, I don't think putting a rookie who's been playing left tackle all of training camp at right guard on the interior to go up against guys like Kenny Clark. Again, when you look at Jaylen Moore, he's a really good pass blocker, like pass blocking like this on an island, being able to have good balance, good base, square shoulders, good feet. He's really good in pass blocking. I don't think Jaylen Moore is that great at run blocking yet, especially if you were to kick him down on the interior with these guys, and having to move these guys. I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's ready for that. And on top of that, I don't think Brunskill's playing badly enough to even warrant the thought process, to be perfectly honest with you. I think a lot of people like to come down Brunskill's road. Still trying to understand why. You can go ahead and clip all the clips you want that you don't like, and you can send them to me, and I will tell you why they're fine. Just like this one. Where probably people are looking at Brunskill and they're like, oh man, he's getting worked. This is a good rep by Brunskill. Going up against Kenny Clark, head up, being able to stay in front in between Clark and Jimmy. This is a win. You might not like the depth that he gets, but that's one of the things with knowing what we have in Brunskill. Brunskill's not a great, huge power guy. I mean, look at how big he is. He's one of the smallest guys on this offensive line. But what he's really good at is keeping his leverage, staying in between the defender and the quarterback, anchoring and doing his job. This is his job. He done it. He did it. This is a win. I think a lot of people would like look at this and be like, oh, he's going to push back too much. I'm like, do you not? It's just a fundamental understanding of playing offensive line. Now, Brunskill, like we talk about, he's never going to be a power guy. He's never going to be one of these guys that's just pancaking guys. He wins with technique and he wins with speed and he wins with leverage. So it's all good. It's all good. We like that. All right. Let's try to move through a couple of these. I'll try to move through a couple of these a little bit more quickly. Since we're on Brunskill, let's see. Let's try a quick stunt. We'll do a quick stunt for Brunskill and McGlinch. So right here, we're focusing on these two. We're watching these two work in tandem in regards to passing off defenders and being able to block it up. So again, this inside defender is going to try and crash down, and he's trying to make this really difficult for both of these two so this defender can loop around. And so you can see, like, this is hard. This is hard. When your shoulders are turned, your hips are turned, you're like basically focused on blocking this guy. Look at where Mike is. Mike's eyes are right here, but Mike has to take over this block. And then Brunskill has to have the reaction and awareness to come out here and block. That is a hard block. And it's going to go unnoticed because, again, it's not a bad play, but it's a really good play by Brunskill. And this is the ability that we talk about. Like, if you have a big lumbering guy in there that's really heavy and doesn't move well and is not quick-footed, they're not recovering from this. They're not able to recover, be able to open up the hips, get in front, and allow Jimmy to make that pass. So again, Brunskill did a lot of good stuff. He's not going to put up like these crazy highlight reel pancakes, but he does his job consistently does his job. So I really thought that was a good stunt pickup by these two working in tandem. Good timing. Let's see. 10-15. Good throw to Kittle. No, that's not to Kittle. This one's to Kittle. All right. So, what did we like about this play? I don't know. I think it was just a good, easy completion. Getting it to Kittle when he needed it in timing, in phase. Liked it. So I think the reason why I like this is because in some of the earlier pass attempts by Jimmy Garoppolo, he wasn't in rhythm. Like, when you're getting to his hitch point, he wasn't like letting it rip. He was holding it like a second too long, and it caused some problems as a result. This one, I think I just liked that he just let it rip. Obviously, it's a very manageable pass, nothing crazy about that. But this is, again, part of the game where Jimmy started to pick it up, drive them downfield, and start to like make some good throws. All right. So, all right, I see some Jimmy haters in the chat. It's all good. You guys are more than welcome to be here. I don't care either way if you like Jimmy or don't like Jimmy. But I see there's a lot of contention in the chat about Jimmy, I guess, at this point. So because there is, I'll show you a good Jimmy play. Just for you. Just for you. Let's do a good Jimmy play for the haters. Again, you're more than welcome to be here. We have nothing against you. I understand why you're upset. I like talking back. I like talking back. All right. So this one I really like. So again, people are upset. It's fine. But it is what it is. You recognize good throws when you see them. This is a freaking difficult throw. I don't care if it's 5 yards. This is a very difficult throw. You have a defender in your face. You have to throw it and whip it around him. Get it to him. That is a hard ass pass, man. That is a hard ass pass. So there's a good pass. I know it's not long like you want it, but again, the context of it, that's a good pass. It's a hard pass. To throw against the grain, to be able to dump it and basically whip it around a defender. Like, look at where the defender is. Look at where it had to go. That's a hard pass. That's a hard pass. So what else do we need? Do we need since we got a lot of Jimmy disdain in the chat, should we pull up another good Jimmy? Let's pull up another good Jimmy. Let's see, where's another good Jimmy? Ah, yes. Again, I don't care. I want the Niners to win. I want them to win I want them to execute. I don't care who executes. Honestly, at this point, I just want to see execution. And this is the kind of execution that I want to see. This is the kind of execution that I want to see. I really like this by Jimmy. Jimmy gets the credit for this. So let's see. Let's see. All right. First of all, I'm a sucker for anyone who's throwing with a free rusher in their face. I'm a sucker for anyone throwing with a free rusher in their face. And to be able to throw with anticipation to Jair Alexander in coverage, I'll take that all day. This was a big boy throw. This was a big boy throw. Again, because you have to throw with anticipation. So you see right here, let's take a look at Jimmy's windup. So Jimmy is winding up to throw. Do we see the motion? Yes. We agree that our eyes are not playing tricks on us. Jimmy is actually throwing the football while his wide receiver is still in the process of running his route, which means this is a throw with anticipation. Let's watch it again. So, boom. Look at that. Free rusher in his face. The way where he's throwing it, look, the ball is gone. The ball is gone. Brandon Nyuk isn't even out of his route yet. Hasn't even started to come back to the ball yet. Look, just identifying it, goes up, snags it. Come on now. Even my biggest Jimmy haters in the chat can look at this and be like, all right, we'll give him a little credit. We'll give him a little credit for that. You can do it. Come on. Let me see it. Let me see you say this was a good throw by Jimmy. I want to see it. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Do it. Say it was a good throw. Say it was a good throw. Not only was it a good throw, it was a throw with anticipation, and it was a throw with the free rusher in his face. Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Really, really like it. Oh, they're so hurt right now. They're so hurt. Look, this is why this fan base is the most toxic fan base, because you got guys, you're literally showing them the film and they can't handle it. They can't take it. They can't take the smoke. They can't take the real factual information shown in front of their face, which is again why they're not real fans or faithful as we call them. They're just a bunch of, I don't know what they are. Don't know what you are. Keep talking your mess, though. We're here for it. You're actually helping my engagement quite a bit, so keep going. Great throw. Great throw, Jimmy. Throw with anticipation. Beautiful. We like it. Again, look at nuance. Holding the safety. He holds the safety with his eyes over the middle. Boom, look where he's looking. Eyes here, safety's locked on, waiting for it. The second he looks at Ayuk, you see him break instantly. break. If Jimmy locks on to Ayuk and just stares that down from the jump, this guy is cutting under to intercept the pass. So you get a bit of it all. You get a bit of Jimmy holding the safety with his eyes. You get a free rusher late, flashing late to where his read is. You get Jimmy throwing with anticipation before the wide receiver even breaks out of his route. And you get a great throw. Touchdown. 49ers. Touchdown. 49ers. Touchdown 49ers. Man, we have some fun ones in the chat today. Let's go. Toxic boys in the chat today. Toxic boys in the chat, we see you. You're welcome here. We're good vibes only, but if you want to bring your toxic vibes into our chat, come on through. We'll deal with it. Come on through. Come on, toxic boys. Come on through. Oh, good stuff, man. Toxic boys in the chat today. Makes me only want to show good plays by Jimmy. Look, here's some good awareness by Jimmy. Or no, that wasn't it. Oh, man. This one, Jimmy was a little off on this one. But this one would have been nice if he would have threw it out a little bit more in front. Again, you have all this room out here. You would like to see the ball placement be a little bit better. Was able to draw the PI because he actually had to come back to the ball. But honestly, this one you can look at Jimmy and say we need better ball placement here. And he's coming up on the run. But still, you have all this space. So we actually could have popped it out here. Would have been some good stuff. Would have been some good stuff. All right. Back to the actual tape. And we will let the guys upset about showing good Jimmy plays be upset. So let's see. Ooh. Here's a good pickup from Trey Sermon. 23-52. 23-52. Right here. Right? No. So on this one, I believe it's Trey Sermon. Ooh, this was the Trent mistake. This is the one where I'm not really sure. It looks like Trent missed the call. I'm not really sure what Trent is keying on. I don't know if Trent is keying on this guy, which it appears he is. It looks like he's accounting for these two. I don't know why Trent doesn't account for this and pick up and recognize that. That's honestly his responsibility. And he doesn't see it or get to it, and a free shot on Jimmy as a result. But yeah, I don't know. I would love to know what his thought process is here. Because that's his guy. That's his guy 100%. So 2 miscues from Trent this game. Other than that, he was pretty good. Alex Mack, I'd say he probably had like 4 to 5 miscues. Other than that, pretty good. Brunskill, I think he had 1 or 2 that were a bit questionable, but for the most part, pretty good. This one, I really wanted to key on with Trey Sermon and his ability to pick up this blitz. Again, this feels like another miscommunication. I'm not really sure what George's responsibility is up here, because if you look at George, he just kind of is in no man's land. I think the way that McGlinchey's coming down, it kind of feels like McGlinchey expects George to come down. I don't know. Again, it's just like another subtle miscue. But what I like about it is Trey Sermon's ability right here. Bang. Look at that pickup. Sermon. Let's go. Let's go. All right. I like that. I really like that. I like that a lot. So I just saw someone say Brunskill is getting overpowered, walked into the QB. Feel free to send me those clips. Feel free to send me those clips. Because we already broke that down about how others who don't really understand the position will perceive that to be getting walked back and being powered back, but did his job. Let's see an example of probably what you're talking about of Brunskill getting pushed back. Brunskill's right here. You got Clark here. I'll take that all day. All day. Casuals will say that's a bad play. Casuals will say he's getting pushed back. That's a block. That is a block. That is a win in the win column for Brunskill, which again translates into a completed pass. Look at that. You have Kenny Clark. This is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL. He takes away his hands. Look, Brunskill's hand is immediately taken away because look at what Kenny does with that. So now what Brunskill's trying to do is he's trying to get his hand back under the plate, under the hand plate, so that he can gain control. But this is why playing offensive line is so difficult. But still, under all this duress, he's able to keep a wide base and stay in front and anchor. And look, I don't care. Jimmy's still able to make the throw. This is a W. This is a W. This is a W. Good stuff, man. This was a fun Trent one. This is again just Trent owning people. Look at that. Look at that. Good stuff. All right. Well, how about this? How about we wrap it? Seems like there's some real fun people in the comments today that just don't like watching football. So I think we've watched enough. I think we got through a good amount of it. Definitely some good plays, definitely some bad plays. But overall, again, like I said and started out with this, I felt like once you actually get through it and you watch it, it's actually a little bit better than maybe you anticipated. Again, it wasn't great in the first half. Like it just wasn't. Like it just wasn't in rhythm. They weren't able to do a bunch of other stuff and able to actually execute. But once they were able to settle in, again, going into halftime, they were able to get the plays going in the right direction. And then came out in the second half, everything started to flow a little bit better. But again, Green Bay's defense was doing a really, really good job. And all that kind of stuff. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. We have positive Detroit fans in the chat. Thank you, Don. Don says, man, y'all have a good team. Enjoy it. All that good stuff. Analyze the fumble. Why? Okay. Jimmy haters want me to analyze the fumble. So do you know what you got a timestamp on the fumble? I don't have it queued up. So you need to tell me. But this was fun. This was really fun. This was fun. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Good vibes. Good vibes. Thank you for sticking around. All that good stuff. All that good stuff. Oh man. Oh, these guys are fun. These guys are fun. So I thought it was a good time. What do we see? Luke Luna says, "What do you think about the press asking Jimmy if he's concerned about the deep ball scrutiny?" And Jimmy said, "No, I just run the plays that are called." Um, I thought that was interesting. I did. I thought that was an interesting comment to make. Um, I think that uh, Jimmy is not gonna let himself like be like the butt or like just be a punching bag anymore. I really think like part of this is like again, Jimmy had to be very quiet through a lot of narratives, through a lot of different stuff. I think he's just being a lot more open. Like I think he's being a lot more vocal about his thoughts, what his perceptions are. Again, a big portion of like what all this stuff um, is that you know, it's just there's so much back and forth. There's so much back and forth. I think we're pretty crystal clear on what Jimmy's like perceived and it's on tape. Like we understand Jimmy does not attempt certain deep throws, doesn't try to do certain things. He's very conservative, tries to be really, really efficient in certain areas. But I don't know. I found that to be interesting that he said that. I do because it does kind of feel like, again, it pushes it back on Kyle a little bit, rather than being like, you know what, I hear the scrutiny, and I'm just trying to operate within the play design, make good reads, be efficient with the football, not turn it over. We're having a lot more stuff. Like he could have probably went about maybe saying it without referencing just running the plays that are called, because again, that puts emphasis on someone else. Um, so I thought it was interesting. I definitely thought it was interesting. Um, James says, great show as always, brother. I appreciate you, James. I appreciate you as always. Um, we stirred up some people a little bit. It is what it is. It is what it is. And Rome, dude, I know you've been around, man. I'm messing with you. Like specifically, I'm messing with you. Like I know I'm giving you a hard time. There's a lot of other people that I'm seeing in here chirping at me I've never seen before. I've seen you around, Rome. I know you've been here. I know you've been here a long time. Since we've been talking about Fields, all that kind of stuff, I'm giving you a hard ass time. It's funny because I'm showing positive plays. Like we're showing, again, it's not all negative. It's not all negative. It's not all positive. We've shown both. I don't know if you were here at the beginning when we showed some of the more negative plays, but it is what it is. Like we get it. But we can't change the fact that Jimmy is having plays where he's not playing well, and then he has plays where he plays well. And we're going to show both of those. So the only reason why I took that angle is because I could see people getting real upset about me showing positive Jimmy plays. And so I just kept going. Rome, I got nothing against you, man. I know you've been here. I know you've been around. I appreciate you sticking around since we did have no subs. We did have no subs back during the draft. But again, it's like we can have conversations. I think that's part of the point. It's like we can have conversations. We can pull up bad plays and we can pull up good plays, and we can provide and talk about the context that goes into why it was good and why it was bad or why it was mediocre. That's the whole purpose of doing film breakdowns. That's the whole purpose of what I was talking about, how when I was in the stands and watching this game, I was a little flustered with Jimmy. I was a little like I was just getting antsy about the lack of rhythm, some of the missed throws that he was having, the poor reads, throwing into coverage, all those kinds of things. But again, when I said I came back, I watched the tape, I studied it, I analyzed it. You see so many different things than you see when watching a broadcast or watching it live. So Jimmy actually played better than I thought he played. And so that's all we're doing is we're showing examples of why in this spot Jimmy did okay and why Jimmy didn't do good in this spot. I'll pull up the fumble. I don't know. I don't have it. Like I said, I don't have it logged. I typically log um good plays or teachable plays where if they're making a mistake, we pinpoint why the mistake was made based on technique or alignment or whatever. That play was just a bad play. It was just blown up instantly. He had pressure in his face and he made a really bad decision by, again, turning his body and throwing the ball behind him. That's never going to be a good play because when you throw the ball behind you that you're throwing, that's a fumble. It's you can't throw backwards. If you throw it backwards, that's a fumble. So the reason I don't have that play logged is because there's really nothing to gain from it. It was a play action. He had his back turned to the defense. The second he turned around, he had a defender in his face. He was trying to ground it and throw it towards the running back, except he didn't. He turned around and he threw it behind him, and it was there's really nothing to take away or break down. There's nothing to break down from the fumble. Like there's nothing to break down. It was a bad play. That was a weird play. There's nothing to break down. Like, so that's why I don't have it logged. It's not, there's no benefit that comes from breaking down a completely busted play where you can't learn anything from it. What are we learning from the fumble? Like what are we trying to gain from the fumble? That's part of it. So I don't know. Luke Luna says we ride with our starters. Isn't that what faithful do? Yeah. I mean, again, we understand the contention amongst the fan base, that we understand there's pro Jimmy, we understand there's pro Lance, and people move through that funnel. I am not pro either. I love Lance. If you were Rome's been around, right? If Rome's been around, he would have known. I would have said Trey Lance should have started week 1. I still feel like Trey Lance should have started week 1. I feel like 49ers and Kyle Shanahan should have went into this offseason doing everything they could to develop Trey Lance and develop him as a quarterback, having him run with the ones, having the offense completely revolve around Trey. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. What had happened is they kept Jimmy. And because they kept Jimmy is the starter by default. And then through training camp, Jimmy wasn't playing bad enough to lose out to Trey. So that's part of the problem, is that you keep them both in camp. They're competing and they're playing at a similar level, but Jimmy has the locker room. Jimmy's been here for 4 years. Jimmy has all these other extenuating circumstances that go outside of playing football, and top of the contract. And again, he's been here for 4 years and all that kind of stuff. So you have to be able to understand the order of operation. And right now, the order of operation tells us that it's Jimmy's job. If you don't like it and you don't want Jimmy in here and you're ready to go to Trey, just be patient. Just be patient. Because I'll tell you what, if we get first half Jimmy for an entire game, we will see Trey. But again, if we get second half Jimmy for an entire game, we're winning games. So it's a double-edged sword, no matter however you want to look at it at the end of the day. So I don't hate Jimmy. I have nothing against Jimmy. I want Jimmy to be successful because Jimmy's the starting quarterback of the team that I cover. And I can tell you that losses like this and having to cover this team and deal with this fan base for a week until the next game is horrible. Because at the end of the day, man, right, we're fans. We're 49er fans. We want to see the team be successful. We want to win games. What's the goal? Is it playoffs or is it good quarterback fantasy stats? Like what do we really want at the end of the day when we're asking ourselves how we're evaluating this team, what we want to come from it, what we're trying to come and try to understand about the review and like connect the dots of why everything is happening and all this kind of stuff. He went out of his way to find it. Jimmy fumble was 5 minutes to go, fourth quarter. All right. Again, like I'll show the bad plays. The point of everything that I've talked about was, again, I like to show plays that are positive, or if they are bad plays, show why they broke down and where they can be corrected. To me, that play isn't really totally correctable, but we can look at it. I'll try to find it. Do you have a timestamp on the clock of when it was? Because on my all 22, it only shows me you said 5 minutes. 5 minutes to go fourth quarter. All right. I mean, again, like I'm not here to crap on anyone. I'm not. But if you guys want to see that play, we try to break it down and understand why it occurred. I'll do that. I'll do that. Let's see. Let me get it pulled up. All right, here we go. Let's pull it up. I haven't broken this down. I don't know why. I don't know the hows. I don't know the whys. Like I told you, I got it. So it's right here. I'll pull it up. So again, as you guys know, as I'm talking about, we're not here to crap on anyone. We're here to evaluate, identify, and understand why this happened. And it starts with the snap. Then it goes to blocking. Then it goes to reads. Like there's an order of operation. So let's look it up. I'll pull it up. For everyone, again, I get it. Not everyone likes Jimmy. It is what it is. But we're trying to be objective on this channel. On this channel, we will be objective, which is why I'm going to pull up the fumble. And let's watch it. All right. You guys ready? You ready? It's here. I got it. This is for all for all the upset Jimmy people. Let's watch it. All right, there we go. Play action. Yeah, it's basically a lack of awareness combined with your offensive lineman getting beat right off the snap. So again, order of operation. Why does this happen? Why does this play happen? First thing you have to key on number 75. Key on this guy right here, number 75. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Good vibes. We appreciate the good vibes. Thank you so much. I would try to say your name, but I feel like I would completely destroy it. All right, so key on 75. Again, this is play action. I hope that we all have the understanding that play action is a learned skill. Like being able to turn your back to a defense like this while all this is going on behind you, to then be able to whip your head around and identify where the ball needs to go. You know, probably a difficult thing. But the problem is, this is a screen. What is this play? Hold on a sec. What is this? What is this? Is this a screen? All right. Well, first of all, this is kind of gross play. This is just all right. Well, first of all, I don't like this play. It's a play action screen. It's funny. Whenever I run play action screens in Madden, I get this. I get the same exact. I get the same exact result. When I run play action screens in Maddens, I get the same results. I either get sacked or I fumble, because this is what happens when you're running play action. Play action is longer developing, and these are all timing. This is all timing stuff. This is all timing stuff. What Lincoln is doing, he's not getting beat. Lakin isn't getting beat. This is timing. He's holding it for a 2 count. 1-2. That's how screens work. As an offensive lineman, when you're blocking on screens, you're really not even blocking, because that's what you're supposed to do. The whole goal of screens is to get the defense to rush upfield. You want the free rush. You want the defensive line upfield. So it's weird because it's a dual screen. It's 2 screens in one. You have a situation where you have Trey Sermon running basically into the teeth of the defense and then kind of popping out. But it's completely covered. It's completely covered. It's not designed well. 91 is just right in the middle. Debo, like, you could get it to Debo, but it's not realistic. And it's not realistic. And again, look at where Jimmy's looking right now. Like, this dude ain't even, again, it's order of operations, man. So I get it in a sense. Like, when you're not even seeing this, you're whipping your head around and look, oh crap. You have a defender right in your face. How do you, up until this point, right here, whether you like Jimmy, you don't like Jimmy, Jimmy hasn't done anything wrong. Right here, again, order of operations, context. Again, I don't know what $27 million has to do with having a defender in your face when you turn around to throw the football. What does $27 million have to do with that? Again, that it has nothing to do with that. And the order of operation is, if you want to start assigning blame, well, let's start assigning blame. First of all, why is there a free rusher in his face like that? That's a function of play design. That's a function of execution. Why is that occurring? Now, right here, when I press play, this is where Jimmy becomes taking ownership of this play. Oops. Now when I press play, it becomes Jimmy's ownership. That is Jimmy's fault. Okay? Like, at a certain point, I understand the thought process, okay? You look here, the screen isn't open. The actual design of the play is not open. It's not open. It's completely destroyed. It's a terrible play at a terrible time that was not executed properly, and it put our quarterback in a really bad situation. The thought process, again, is to throw the ball down at Trey Sermon's feet, which then stops the clock, and you don't take the sack, you don't keep the clock rolling, and you move on to play another day. The unfortunate part is, because he's trying to not get hit while he's throwing. Watch the shoulders. He's trying not to get hit. He's trying to close up. He's trying to brace for contact. But because he tries to brace for contact and he brings that shoulder in, it forces the ball to go backwards, which makes it a really bad throw. It makes it a really bad situation. In hindsight, take the sack, right? Hindsight, get tackled, take the sack, live to play another down. That is what the rallying cry should be. Like, if Jimmy is, I'm coaching on the sideline, I'm Jimmy's quarterback coach, Jimmy just comes off the play of this, and he's going to come off the line and say this to me. This is his truth. He's going to be like, I turned my ass around, and there was someone already tackling me when I turned around. Like, there's already someone tackling me. And then I'm going to be like, as a coach, like, yeah, I get it. The play didn't work out to your benefit. It was a bad play. It was a busted play. It put you in a really bad spot. But at the same time, we have to have a certain level of awareness to ensure that we're not making this play. We have to either just be 100% sure that ball is moving forward, or take the sack. Those are the only two options. So it's, again, the order of operations. It's honestly like, who are we faulting here? Like, we can fault Jimmy from this point, right? This is not good. This part right here. Jimmy takes ownership of this. He takes ownership of that. We don't throw the ball backwards. This is football. This isn't rugby. We throw the ball forward. That's how we operate, right? That's how it works. And he's absolutely, like, take ownership of that. But again, what are we correcting here? What are we correcting here? This is just it's a bad play from the jump, from the snap. When they said hike, it was a bad play. It just didn't work. It's a bad play, didn't work. It didn't work. And then it put our guy in a really bad spot. And then unfortunately, when you put your guys in bad spots, typically what happens is you compound bad decisions on top of each other. So I don't know. Like, again, I know the reason why some people wanted me to pull up this play is to, again, like, just be negative about Jimmy. But the whole thing about this is you have to understand the order of operation. The order of operation to the play. This play was broken. Like, there's no reason a quarterback should be turning his head to, again, his read is here. So all of that movement and looking is to hold linebackers. He's trying to hold these linebackers at bay to allow this to occur. But unfortunately, it did not work out into his benefit because the ball went backwards. If the ball lands right here, we're not talking about this play. If the ball lands here, we're not talking about this play. If we are talking about this play, we're talking about it from the sense of being a bad play call. It just wasn't a good call. They played it well. I saw, where did it go? So this isn't a missed block. Again, it's why it's kind of a crappy play design. It's a screen. So if you're watch Lincoln. Again, as an offensive lineman, you're holding your block for a 2 count. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, and then you're gone because it's a screen. And again, all you're trying to do is hold up the defensive lineman for like 2 seconds. And then, like, for example, if I'm running a screen, I'm pushing my guy upfield. I'm blocking him. I grab his chest plate and I push him upfield while using the momentum to spring me forward. So we want defenders rushing upfield. That's why I don't like the play action screen. It should have just been a regular freaking screen. Don't run play action out of it. It takes longer to develop. Because look, right here, Lakin is going to disengage. And that's what he's supposed to do. Do you know why? Because he went to 91. That is the design of the play. But unfortunately, the design of the play puts Jimmy in a really crappy spot. And unfortunately, Jimmy compounds the crappy play with a crappier mistake. The only problem is it comes back on him. So, again, there's nothing to learn from this other than it's a bad play, in my opinion. I don't like play action screens for this reason. They take too long to develop, and it's too hard for offensive linemen. Like, this is how it is. Look at all the offensive linemen release their blocks. Look at all of them release their blocks. Anyways, that was fun. That was fun. Yeah, it is getting old. Because again, the whole point of what we're doing, it's not a Jimmy versus Trey. Like, I don't care about that anymore. I'm evaluating the play on the field. I want to talk about things that we're doing well, things that we could do better, all that good stuff. I appreciate you, Rome. I appreciate you, Rome. Hey, and that's okay. We're not always gonna agree. Like, we can always. That's the point of this channel. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I've played at the NFL level. I'm an NFL expert. I just am speaking from my experiences as a former offensive lineman who played football for a really long time and dedicated my life to it and continue to dedicate my life to football. We don't, I still have lots to learn. So we can hopefully next time, let's keep this in mind for next week since we got everyone here. Whether Jimmy plays good or bad, this channel and the point of this film session is not to like prove someone is bad. What we're trying to do is we're looking at it like a coach. We're looking at it of a sense of we have to indicate where we messed up, why we messed up, and how we improve it. Again, the fumble play, I really don't see anything you can take away other than don't run that play anymore. I don't like that play. I don't. I don't like play action screens. They take too long to develop and bad things happen. Does Jimmy Garoppolo need to be smarter with the football? Yes, he does, but that has nothing to do with how much money he makes. It isn't. It's human nature. You turn around and you have Kenny Clark, again, arguably one of the better interior defensive linemen, in your face. That makes it difficult. And I guarantee you, if you're in a similar situation, you're not making the best decision. And that's the point. Is as a coach, you have to put your players in a position to be successful. As a coach, like I would say, like that play didn't really put us in a good position to be successful. That play put us in a really bad position to be successful. So that's all we're trying to do here. Like again, I know we got a little into the weeds with the Jimmy stuff. That's probably my fault for calling it out. Again, I know you guys were kind of arguing and going back and forth. And that's probably my fault for pouring some gasoline on it. But again, I just want to be crystal clear. Like we're here to learn. We're here to understand. We're here to identify. We're here to stack trends. You know what I'm saying? Like we're here to understand why these problems are happening. We're not using it as like ammunition because we got in a Twitter beef for the last 6 months with this crew of pro and or like whatever side you're on. Like that's not what we're doing here. Like so, if Jimmy has bad plays, we're gonna talk about the bad plays. If Jimmy has good plays, we're gonna talk about the good plays. We're gonna do it all. So same thing with my guy Trent. Trent Williams is my probably like him and like Kittle's been my favorite player. Kittle has been probably one of my has been my favorite player since he was drafted. He was a draft crush of mine coming out of Iowa. So when we drafted him, I was over the moon. Trent Williams though is really pushing me with George. Like I love George. George is amazing, but Trent is so amazing as well. But guess what we did on this show? We looked at two of the mistakes that Trent made. Trent had a clean ass game, like really really clean game. He did really well. But what did we do here? We pulled up both of the mistakes that he made to identify why he made the mistakes and to show how you correct that and move on from that. So that is what we're trying to do here. We're not a part of this Jimmy versus Trey thing. We're not. We aren't. And I apologize. I apologize for feeding into it again. Again, I get a little worked up too when we're just looking at the tape. We're looking at the facts. Again, tape don't lie. Tape tells us everything. And we get in these little back and forths. Again, I take responsibility for that. So we'll work on that. We'll get better. We'll get better. I think we handled it well. We got through it. I showed you guys the fumble tape. It again, the fumble tape doesn't prove anything. It's a bad play altogether, compounded by a bad play by Jimmy. Like, it was a bad play design, is bad execution, and then it was a bad decision. So there's the only thing you can look at from that is like, don't make that decision anymore, or don't call that play in that type of situation. So I think that's good for the offense. Dude, Wi-Fi has, shout out you guys. I've been taking I took the super chat money that you guys have been sending me, and I had to go buy this stupid Wi-Fi extender, but it's done the trick. It's done the trick. So I appreciate you guys. This ended up being a long one. Again, I don't know how I get through these 2-hour lives and you guys watch these things, but I appreciate it. So what I'm going to focus on for tonight for myself, so you guys know what's coming for tomorrow, is I'm going to look at the defense. So we can break down the defense. Some of I know that's a big point of emphasis from this game as well. The defense is absolutely a big point of emphasis from this week. So I think we'll put this offense to bed. Again, the biggest takeaway for me is it wasn't as bad as it felt. I think it felt way worse than it was. I think that first half really put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, including myself. But when you have the opportunity to objectively go back and watch, it's not as bad. It's not as bad. And they rebounded, and they were able to get it moving there towards the end. So I feel better about how the offense performed than I did watching live. So that being said, there's a lot of things that the biggest thing, if we're going to put a bow on the offensive performance against Green Bay and how we're going to take the offense and transition that towards Seattle, we got to start out hot. We got to come out in rhythm. We have to be able to run the football. A huge reason why I felt like the 49ers got off to a really, really slow start is based on how they tried it. They tried to start and engage their offense. I don't feel like they did what they should have done, and it kind of put them in a bad spot as a result. So, and then on top of that, Jimmy was a little bit shaky. Jimmy was shaky to start out. So it's the combination of not being able to get the run going with Jimmy being a little bit shaky, not making the best reads. He wasn't being ultra accurate. We saw a little bit of bad Jimmy in that first half, but he did settle down. Like, we can indicate both. We can indicate that Jimmy didn't have a very good game to start, but he settled in and he started having a good game, and then his other players weren't supporting him as much. So that's the key to Seattle. Is come out. We have to set the tone in the run game. We have to set the tone in the trenches to allow the offense to move as it needs to move. And I came away liking Trey Sermon a lot more than I felt like I liked him in the game as well. So overall, like I said, like, you can go into some tape feeling really bad about it, and you can actually come out the other side like, oh, it actually wasn't as bad as we thought it was. It it was the game flow. It was the vibe. It wasn't the best. It really wasn't the best. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I wanted to show. There was a really good run by Sermon where I think at first Sermon wasn't doing the best job of reading the cutback lanes. But he did a really good job of indicating a cutback lane and getting a huge gain as a result. I can't find it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a bit of an up and down episode. There was definitely some contention, some high tension involved regarding the quarterback position. But hopefully we got through it. And at the end of the day, we can continue to have a constructive conversation back and forth. And continue to move throughout and do all this good stuff. So again, thank you guys, everyone who sent super chats, everyone who did their best to keep the positive vibes going as we get a fire Kyle Shanahan message in the chat. Again, we're a good vibes channel. We are going to always try to look at the positives before we look at the negatives, or keep those two things very close to each other. So thank you for everyone who helps push that vibe forward as well. And we'll be back tomorrow. So we'll be back to do the defense, look a little bit further into some of the defensive plays, and we'll go from there. So again, as always, thank you guys so much. I might be back on later today trying to decide, but appreciate you guys as always. And of course, if you haven't, please please subscribe. I might do game preview on Friday. Game preview on Friday. Yeah, let's do game preview on Friday. Appreciate all the vibes. All you guys are awesome. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we will do it again soon.